and breathe again, breathe again. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I'm all for being serenaded, even if it involves my hospitalization earlier this week.
Well, there's so many songs. I mean, God, Breathless by the Corrs.
Yeah.
Go on, leave me breathless. Take me. So that's another one with the
I'm
chorus
looking
part.
at
So
my
like
inhaler, by the way, as you were singing that, so that's always nice.
You go ahead and inhale, because, a lot of people can't even take a deep breath, much less take a deep breath and then sing a song. So, and I know you were taking some of the Milli Vanilli songs, and you were saying that.
Well, that's a choice for. And first of all, by the way, girl, that's true. You know it's true, and I say that probably a few times during the course of this. I have no idea what. I guess at the end I can say, "Girl, I'm going to miss you." But yeah, for the title, and I hope it's enough characters. We're thinking about doing it on "Blame It on the Prednisone" or what's the other one? "Baby, Don't Forget Your Medication," which applied to me.
Baby, don't forget your medication. That's funny. Now, blame it on the prednisone. Because there's so many syllables in that, I would say, blame it on the steroids that were ordered for you. Blame it on the stars. Well, because they shine at night when you're on prednisone. You
there is no night
that.
when you're on prednisone, Jodie. You know that.
I know. My mother was on prednisone when she had her heart attack years ago, and
really?
It does make you bloated. Yeah, it was awful.
Bloating, by the way, I don't think is as bad today. That may be not because I'm not eating very much, but I don't feel quite as bloated as I did today. But I'm like wearing gym shorts, needless to say.
Well, yeah, but that's an awful feeling. My mother, who was always, she had twins and put her clothes back on. She was 5'8", 123 pounds.
Uh-huh.
She had twins and put her, went back down to 123 pounds.
Uh-huh.
So for her to be bloated and on prednisone, that was worse than any illness.
Huh. Interesting. No, it seems to have stabilized a little bit, but at one point late yesterday, my legs just started feeling like lead. I mean, there was so much extra water in them, or whatever weight it was. It certainly felt different from anything I previously experienced. All right, so let's go back to talking about the news.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about the news. So you were talking about, I know you want to get into this whole, the other thing that we were discussing.
The ADL thing?
You want to? Yes.
I don't know how up on that you are, but it's interesting. And Jack Posobiec took notice of what we were talking about yesterday, that the ADL, which is run now, it's a nominally Jewish organization that is championing fighting hate everywhere, but of course is very into Islamophobia and basically slamming conservatives every once in a while.
Like the ACLU? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, that's basically changed a few letters. ADL is the ACLU, except not necessarily as lawyer-oriented. But they had this list. Jack Posobiec's on it, Mike Cernovich, Gavin McInnes, a lot of really prominent new media people who were big-time Trump supporters. Kyle
Chapman, Kyle Prescott. But let's see why they're on this. They're not on the list that says the anti what you call it. They're what do they say? They're alt-light and not alt-right,
as opposed to more white nationalists, which would be alt-right. I guess that's the Richard Spencer.
Well, they're more racially.
Yeah.
Supposedly, this is what these guys are. So here's my problem with this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell makes a list?
Oh, I can tell you who does. People who want to scare old Jewish people who can donate a lot of money to the ADL, which is basically a function of the Democratic Party, as we were talking about yesterday. And you want to scare them, and you want to be in the spotlight. And your main religion is Obamaism, like this Jonathan Greenblatt character who runs the thing. That's how you do it. I mean, that's who.
Well,
it's not
here's my problem. Well, here's my problem with this. When you look at these, what a lot of people do is they'll go there and they'll look and they'll be topical and go blah 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 blah. But here's what I do. I go and I look and see what kind of people these are. So in doing that, when I'm looking at the charity portion of what the Anti-Defamation League does, and who grades these people on what they do. and it brings you to places like the Charity Navigator, one of the top.
Oh, you looked
and
at
if you're rated, if you're rated 4 stars on their site, you're doing a damn good job, and people should go there, and they should be, these people get a 77 out of 100 rating. They have a 2-star rating at the on Charity Navigator.
Interesting.
Their financial disclosure is 1 star.
Really?
Yep. That was very interesting for me, because on here it says that their donor privacy policy is I guess that they have a way of rating all these people and their privacy, and this is an opt-out. The charity's written a privacy policy published on its website which enables donors to tell the charity to remove their names. Now, if you're donating to something as fabulous as the Anti-Defamation League, wouldn't you want your name in bright lights and big stars and
that's usually
billboards?
much of the motivation of giving to a charity.
Okay, so who are the celebrities that back these people? Do you know any celebrities that back these people? I don't.
I can tell you one weird celebrity thing, as I mentioned, I think during yesterday's show in Philadelphia. It was the most bizarre thing. There are all these Jewish people they could have honored and things they could have done. They honored the general manager of the Phillies, who was born to a Jewish mother, Reuben Amaro Jr. It was the most bizarre thing, like 6-7 years ago, and like hometown heroes or something. And he was a terrible general manager. It was simply for being born to a Jewish mother. It was a joke how shamelessly it was all about themselves.
What about us white Christian girls?
Huh?
What about us white Christian girls?
Yeah, well,
the Anti-Defamation League is for the fairness of all.
Right. So it could have been just as easily another.
Why didn't they have? Yeah. Why exactly? Why does it have to be somebody like this guy? Was that all they could find? Seriously, is that all they could find? Then they turn around and look, when BLM came out, and not Bureau of Land Management, I'm talking about Black Lives Matter. To me, that's a terrorist organization. I think they are the worst of terrorist organizations.
I wouldn't quite go that far.
All lives matter.
Okay.
For this country, they're invited to the White House to sit at a table with the president.
Yes. Hey, by the way, in fairness to BLM and the gay guy who is the most prominent guy, what's his name, DeRay McKeeson, he has been loudly going consistently calling it outrageous what happened in Minneapolis, where it was a black Somali cop killing the white woman for no apparent reason, and they're not talking about it. So I have to give them a little bit of credit for that, just while we're talking about them. I don't know if it'll come up again. But sorry, you were saying?
Well, no, I'm just saying that these organizations like ADL, they kind of go under the guise of being a nonprofit. Let me help you because you're downtrodden, or you're of the Jewish faith, or you're something else. I don't even know what their policy is. It changes often.
We're just against hate. Are we a Jewish thing?
Yeah,
or do we say whatever it is to get old Jewish liberal money, which I think is what it is.
It's like, I think that's what it is too, because if you look at some of their, who their donors, they list a couple, but they're not celebrity donors. The people who have given, it was this Dr. Kathy Kowalski's house with her and her husband, and this is where we had this awards dinner. What?
Right.
What are you talking about?
But it's
what
not.
What does that even mean?
It's not cool. It's not like a cool charity. And you know what? I think part of it is it's an old organization that outlived its original mission. It was part of B'nai B'rith, which was a real Jewish organization, and just wants to keep going. Organizations often like to perpetuate themselves, just like universities do, for the sake of the insiders there. That is the most important thing. I mean, certainly look at the so-called Southern Poverty Law Center, which is probably the worst of the bunch, if you want my opinion. And so it's about keeping the organization going. And there is a difference between the ACLU and the BL and Black Lives Matter in the sense that there is something of a young, youthful energy to Black Lives Matter in the sense that it's new, and the sense that it's a lot of young people. I just can't imagine at college campuses anyone joining ADL because they think it's cool. Maybe it'll brown nose them into a job at a law firm where there's some, secular Jew who's big in the ADL there. It'll get them an interview. But I just can't imagine anyone who's young and dynamic being like, hey, man, the ADL is doing great stuff. We're going to do a benefit for the White Sox general manager who, general manager of a terrible team who happens to be Jewish. Or I guess the one to say would be the Detroit Tigers manager who is Jewish, and I can't believe he hasn't been fired yet. But that would be the example to go with.
Well, their mission statement says to stop the defamation of the Jewish people and to secure justice and fair treatment to all. Please. I would like to ask them, though, when they say that, then how do they have justice and fair treatment to all, and then put pictures and names and contact information of men with families just because they don't like what they do?
Yeah, but at the same time,
that to me, just because they're Trump supporters, Trump did they miss when he went to Israel? Did they miss all that? That his good friend is Netanyahu?
Right.
I mean, I'm missing all this. I'm missing what they're saying. How he is
call out Trump. I mean,
anti-Semitic.
But they're careful about it. They're crafty about it. And they didn't even write such harsh things about Jack Posobiec. It's that they included him. They made to include a real Nazi type in there. I think it was only one in there, and they included him with Richard Spencer. That's how they do it. Guilt by association is what they do. What do you mean?
I'm telling you, look online last year what the ADL was trying to do. They were backing anybody that would go against Trump, and what an anti-Semite he was. And all this anti-Semitic garbage crap last year. Maybe this year they choose not to do it because he's president and there was nothing they could do. I don't think they realized how close he was to his good buddy Benny. Okay? I don't think that they realized that. But if you go back last year, every single article was anti-Trump. Get this man out. This is what he's doing. He is not he is anti-Semitic. He's going to do everything to separate and get rid of the Jews. Absolutely and totally wrong.
So the ADL was the one saying that.
Wrong.
The ADL was saying
ADL was saying that. Mm-hmm.
By the way, I don't know if you know about this. This is a little bit of a digression, but you're half Arab Christian, right?
I am half Lebanese, and I'm Maronite Roman Catholic. So the Maronite rite of Catholicism, I actually have core bishops and monsignors in my family. My second cousin, Joe, is the Archbishop of Cairo. Okay. So I have a lot of very higher up. The Mother Superior of a convent in Lebanon was my great aunt.
Okay.
So I have a lot of...
so you have a little bit of Middle East Christian cred there. I wanted to establish that. There was an issue maybe 9 years ago with the ADL, which was run by another guy named Abe Foxman at that point, where they fired their director in Boston for mentioning that the murder of like 1 to 1.5 million Armenian Christians was a genocide by the Turkish Muslims. He got fired because of that, because the ADL's policy was, we can't say anything bad about Turkey. It was against the national agenda, which was insane. It was unbelievable that they would do it. They fired their own person for pointing out the victims of the genocide. But look what
Turkey's doing today. They're doing the same thing today.
Well,
they're back in Syria.
Yes.
Maybe not to that level, but do you really know what they're doing and at what level?
Well, there aren't that many Armenians left to kill there, first of all.
No, but I'm talking about genocide of others. Look what they're doing in Syria. Mm-hmm. They are on the same path and working with the same murderers. They back all that.
Yeah, Syria, I don't know even where to go with that one. I mean, I don't know which side is less bad on which particular day, if you want my honest opinion. But,
and that's already another problem. So,
John McCain can tell us that one. He can tell us what to do, and I think he already tweeted about that. But let's get back to the ADL, and I know we're going to probably hit McCain and.
The list. I'm more concerned about the list. The list is awful. The last time there was a list, people started dropping.
What are you talking? Oh, you mean?
Well, wasn't there back during the time of the Nazis? Wasn't there a list then?
No. I thought you were making a reference to them pointing at the shooting at the Family Research Council. a couple years ago.
No, I'm talking about lists after the war. There were so many lists, so many people were brought in, so many people you never heard from again. Oh, please. These people make these kind of lists.
No, I just have to be historically accurate here. Okay, I said the same thing to Jack Posobiec. I said the same thing to Laura Loomer because I've read Herman Wouk's book, The Winds of War. The National Socialists, I don't call them Nazis, Hitler, and it's a fictional book based on reality. No, they didn't make a list of who they wanted eliminated. They were so secretive. They wanted to give the German people plausible deniability. So as much as I love the video that Jack Posobiec made from Auschwitz, I don't know if you saw it, today, calling out the ADL, he was in Poland, where his family's from, and he was in Krakow. Perfect time. He says, okay, I'll drive the 30 minutes to Auschwitz. Everyone needs to watch that one. It's like 30 seconds long. When he called 30
seconds, right, exactly. Well, I was in Dachau.
Okay, in Germany. Oh, yeah. Right, you grew up in Germany. All right, yeah, cool.
Well, I lived in Germany 14 years, but I was in Dachau, and let me tell you something. If you have never seen any of these camps, and if there's a question in your mind, yeah, this will wake you up. It was one of the most eerie yet awesome experiences because not very many people can say that. I stood inside the gas chamber. You can hear, literally, you can hear the screams of people. I was 13 years old when I went there, so we're talking 1970-something, 73, 74. It was awful, yet I had the awesome experience of being able to be there and see it. You don't ever want something like that to happen again.
Did you know you can catch Backlash clips on YouTube? Why would you want to watch Backlash on YouTube? Because we know that you want control over your content and what narratives you're fed. Cable news is expensive, and often it leaves you to choose between a boring conservative on one channel or an unhinged Rachel Maddow on another. Watch our clips on YouTube as Adam Taxin talks with the likes of Ben Shapiro, Kimberly Guilfoyle, Ron DeSantis, Brooke Goldstein, and others that you will love. Adam is a conservative, and he keeps it real. Tune into our YouTube channel and enjoy commentary that is conservative and intellectually stimulating. Just go to YouTube and type in Shark Nation Radio in the search box. Once you're on our channel, you have free access to all of the great conversations Adam has had with people you will definitely want to hear from. You can also follow us on SoundCloud and Twitter by searching for Shark Nation Radio.
And that's why when the ADL
is what people need to work on.
Yeah. When the ADL takes whatever moral authority and lessons from there and perverts them to make attacks on conservatives, it's so outrageous. It
is.
And that's what they're doing. That is what they were doing.
It is.
Oh, yeah, let me make my point. Let me make my point, by the way.
Okay, go ahead.
Hitler. No, there weren't lists like the ADL did that. They did that so quietly. They wanted the fewest people to know. Yeah, of course, people would say, oh, what happened to all the Jews in town? But they didn't actually see it. And they really would not say these lists. Yes, in the death camps, they kept meticulous lists of who was there and what tattoos were on people's arms. That's a different matter. But no, there weren't lists by the German National Socialists ahead of time. So I just want to make sure people get that right because we got, there's such a war on social media and they will pick any little thing that you get wrong and exaggerate that and make that the story.
And exaggerate it
so we have to be historically accurate, and the reality is no. Hitler was careful not to make lists of undesirables he wanted eliminated. He knew who they were. He just didn't write it down, and he kept it as quiet as possible. That's all I'm saying. We can move on.
Yes, we can.
There might be more on the ADL to talk about. It's just,
Well, I'm still concerned about. Here's my question about the ADL. Alt-right and alt-right. Okay, so because these people are, for the most part, Trump supporters.
Yes, overwhelmingly.
For the most part, Trump supporters. So that goes back to my previous comment about last year and how they were, against Trump and writing everything down by how anti-Semite he was. So for the most part, so that's another slant against, anything Trump, which for me is a big problem.
Yep.
That's a big problem. I don't think that it should be up to the Anti-Defamation League to determine what our president's going to be saying and doing for everybody in this country just because they don't like it. Now they've made a list about all these people that are Trump supporters. In fact, they got a picture of Andrew Anglin from the alt-right that says "Make America Great Again" from the alt-right, not the alt-light.
As if there's a membership card
definitely
either.
Well, they're definitely against Trump and working to provide him with as much pain and anguish as possible in the streets. I'm telling you.
What's amazing is when you think about how silent the so-called Anti-Defamation League was when Keith Ellison, Keith Hakim, a black Muslim who has been very anti-Israel, who Chucky Schumer, was kissing his ass when he was rising to the top of the Democratic Party. They had nothing to say about all the anti-Jewish things he'd said in the past. The goal of these people, and who makes, and my other problem is this, who makes these decisions about that they're appointed and then the press just act like they're the authority, like as if they're quoting, the head of an organization which has exclusive rights to that thing. Who made them in charge of what is anti-Semitic and what's not? And I make the point, they're a joke. Observant Jews do not, with some exceptions maybe, perhaps some opportunists, join the Anti-Defamation League. It's just men made up of secular Jews. It's probably some people who think that because we're out there fighting hate, that overcomes my need to do the bare minimum that Jews have been doing for thousands of years, like keeping the Sabbath, keeping kosher, those sorts of pain in the butt, day-to-day things that Jews do, well, week to week in the Sabbath's case. And, it's my whole thing is liberalism so often is what Jews do because they don't want to go to the trouble to actually practice Judaism. And the and then they overcompensate in other ways. And it happens, and it's particularly a problem in the Jewish community. And that's the reality. I ask the question, why are so few Jews who observe actual Judaism in the ADL or involved with them or even want to have anything to do with them?
Well, a bigger problem for me is why doesn't anybody call them out on it?
Well, they are now.
Who's called? Well, yeah, now because the others are, not Jewish people, others are. Right. I'm talking about the Jewish community. Where's the Jewish community?
I can explain that. I spend my time in Greater Daytona Beach really among observant Jews. And the critical mass here, it's a fairly young community. There are a lot of, women have children when they're in their early 20s, and it's dynamic. It's growing. And to put it, Jews who are busy, especially because Jews who are Orthodox have big families, are busy trying to provide for those families and raising those families. It's big. And then you miss one day of the week, for the Sabbath. Secular Judaism basically is so irrelevant to observant Jews, and the ADL is totally a secular Jewish organization. They're just blown off. They're so irrelevant to things. They're just these pesky pains in the ass who use whatever goodwill they had from past efforts to do these things, and they're just basically ignored. I mean, I guess we could be, well, not me, I'm obviously being outspoken about it. We could be much more clear. I think what we can do is say, look, do you see this yarmulke I'm wearing? Take a look at it, and this guy in this yarmulke is saying the ADL is a joke. And the response I say to any non-Jew who is dealing with annoying Jews using anti-Semitism to really take down conservatives is this. I have a question for you. You're very concerned about the future of the Jews. Do you keep the Sabbath? Do you keep kosher? What anti-Semite is preventing you from doing that? Aren't there things you are supposed to be doing as Jews? Why do you have so much energy? It's like the question I asked this guy Baked Alaska, who's pretty anti-Jewish. He is a member of the alt-right, and frankly, I got to send you his video. He made, had someone in music, you were harsh on the Joe Scarborough thing. At some point, I got to get you to review this. His MAGA rock video, his Trump video, it's so lame, and this guy is just such a dork, trying to be cool. And like the question I had, he posted this video. I'm on a tangent here, but people know who Baked Alaska is, and it's him with some walking down the street doing some Periscope thing. And you know how these groups, I don't know about in Las Vegas, often won't hire useless 20-something college graduates and the girls are cute, to approach you to give them money on the street, and the girls flirt with you when you're walking down the street. And this happened in this Periscope thing. You know what I'm talking about here?
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
you see that here.
Okay, and like the camera's on them, and the girl like starts leaning on him, like being so cute, and the guy's like frozen by it. My reaction is like, you gonna give me some of that sugar, you know? And because you don't put your arms on me like that unless you're ready for me to put my hand up your shirt in this video.
Actually in Nevada you cannot do that. You cannot touch somebody like that. Even though prostitution is legal, it's not legal in Las Vegas proper. Not in Las Vegas proper.
That's a Nevada specific thing. But the guy was like lame in it. And the point was like, and he's stopping people on the street to say, "Are you concerned about the future of the white race?" And he does this in a 2-hour video, and I'm like, "Look, bro," and I tweeted him. He didn't tweet back. You could have spent those.
Of course not. He might have to answer it correctly.
Right. 2.5 hours you could have spent taking a white girl to dinner and initiating a process that might make white babies, and he doesn't have any children. And it's just like, shut up about these kinds of things if you're not doing anything for the survival of the white race yourself personally. You know, there's a reason observant Jews who have a very high growth rate, not only from people converting, like during their life, or not, it's not converting, but becoming more observant in their life, they just have a lot of kids. They don't talk about this. They're just busy raising kids. That's what makes, ultimately, someone survive. And, ADL, there's probably a 50% intermarriage rate of the children who even get married among the secular Jews who are involved in that. And who knows how many of them are even to the other sex. And just talking like they have any part of the future of the Jewish people is ridiculous to me. Sorry, I was on a tangent.
Well,
the meds, whatever.
You're allowed to be on your tangent. I'm looking at their core values, and they have 8 of them listed here. One of them is we are viewed as having unquestioned credibility because our actions draw from years of Our actions draw from years of experience and are grounded in research and rigorous thinking. Does that include putting people on a list that could get them killed? Wait, here's a better one. Number 6. We always
observe.
Who writes
a sentence like that? That sentence is terrible. It's like
it's awful.
I mean, who writes something that even sounds like that?
We always observe the highest standards of integrity. That's why you put a list of people who have families and some of them are faith-based, and you just don't agree with them. But that's why you put their list on your website. All that integrity. You're killing me with integrity. Let's see. Number 4, we embrace the power of collaboration, recognizing that working together yields gains that could not always be achieved on our own. So this is a collaboration of working together with people you don't agree with. You put their names on a list.
Right.
And then you supply that list to people like George Soros. What the hell's wrong with these people?
And some of it's just plain bad writing. It's like they're as bad at writing as Ruben Amaro Jr. was as being a general manager of a baseball team. In my opinion, who they honored, of course. Sorry, I needed a deep breath.
Can you understand now why this guy was honored? This is their values. Who we are, our values.
Yeah.
And I'm not even Jewish.
Right. And by the way, speaking of not even Jewish, have you been following
this? This scares me.
Speaking of not even Jewish, have you been following this thing with Jake Tapper?
What is it?
The cockroach, Linda Sarsour. He called out Linda Sarsour, and she accused him of being
Linda Sarsour. I know. I did many a show on Linda Sarsour. She's nothing but a criminal terrorist. She's trying to push Sharia law in this country. Don't let me go on a tangent. Go on.
Okay,
go on. Jake
Tapper.
She
picked the fight with Jake Tapper, who's not a member of the alt-right. But meanwhile, there's this guy at Tablet Magazine. I was reading his stuff. Yair Rosenberg, and he puts the 3 parentheses around himself. It's sort of like the way gays embrace the term faggot, like to show, hey, we're going to claim it for our own. Okay, whatever. And he's on there, and Jake Tapper has become involved in this. A lot of people pick on him, but no one points out Jake Tapper isn't even Jewish. His father is Jewish. His mother did a conversion, but there are conversions, and there are real conversions, and hers was a conversion. He's not Jewish. He wouldn't be recognized by real Jews. And by the way, the same goes for...
He's not on the list either.
Nolan Goldberg.
He's not on the ADL's list.
No, I know, but he's on the left. He's on the left, and he's been outspoken with the ADLs. And the joke is, he's not even Jewish. We don't consider him Jewish, and neither is Jonah Goldberg, for that matter. His mother, Lucy Ann, was Episcopalian. And the ADL treats it, seriously, as if he's a spokesman for the Jewish people. I mean, I'm sure they're secular enough that they don't care, but it's just like no one even asks these questions. I mean, look, I'm not blaming him for not having a Jewish mother. Well, that's what I'm saying, credibility.
Hence the credibility. Number 7. We are viewed as having unquestioned credibility.
Right, exactly. Well, that's what got me going.
Obviously, that's not true.
Who are these people? Who are they?
I don't know. I just find something has to be done. I think the FBI should be involved. You can't make a list of these people with everything about them on there, with the exception of their social security numbers,
and their home
think
addresses.
That people
their home addresses aren't on there.
No, they're not. What I'm saying is, these people, as a rule, nobody would have ever known. A whole new group of people, demographically and geographically, are now going to know who these people are.
Exactly.
You don't need an address. With the way that the internet and technology is today, it's a name, and it tells you which one do you want. If you want to find these people, you'll find them. They found Scalise, didn't they?
Yep. Remember what happened in Alexandria?
They found Scalise because of the ADL.
Not that Scalise was so hard to find there, but...
but you have to be privy to know where he's going to be at certain times. Come on.
Remember what the other side did. Remember when the Gabby Giffords shooting occurred, and her swing district was pointed out by Sarah Palin as an election target for Republicans to maybe win in the future. Yeah. She was blamed for the shooting. I mean, and the same people in the ADL probably were pointing her out as, I can't believe I don't know that the ADL did this, but the same types were trying to blame Sarah Palin for that. And it is a type. It's just, the hypocrisy is amazing. So why can't we point out, in fact, someone should, put pictures of who the ADL is in every place. You don't have to give out their home addresses. Just let people know, pictures, who is the ADL. And I know, just like I mentioned,
they have a leadership. They have a leadership and staff page. It gives you the names of who these people are, of all their lead people, and who the vice presidents are, and who all these other people are. Why isn't there a list to go after these people for their credibility?
Well, just make them accountable. If someone is prominent and getting awards at a dinner for the ADL, and their law firm is a big prominent law firm, why is that law firm not held accountable to it? About it. Really? I mean, why are they not answering these questions? Do you support this? This is your law firm.
Well, because they're too busy making lists. They're making lists.
Well, no, I'm talking about the other lawyers there. I mean, if a lawyer wanted to join a controversial organization, not the ADL, on the right, you can bet they would have a talk with the powers that be there. And a lot of the...
No kidding.
Yeah, I know someone in Philadelphia who's a big prominent lawyer, big person in Democrat campaigns, and big supporter of the ADL. And, obviously not religiously Jewish, but Jewish. And, really nice guy, great guy, and great lawyer. But why are these questions never asked? How you move around and not have to be asked questions about your association with the ADL at this point? How can anyone in the ADL escape these questions now is what I want to know. I'm not saying that they did anything illegal.
Well, it's probably the same reason. Well, it's probably the same reason why half the crap that the DNC gets away with, they get away with.
Donna Brazil.
It's probably Donna Brazil. You read my mind. That was the next name that was coming out of my mouth. Donna Brazil is a perfect example. Absolutely perfect example. And still, now she's writing a book. Look at Comey. Comey's going to write a book and disclose everything. It's classified information. How do these people get away with it? They're not going to get away with it. That's what's going to happen. They're not. And people like this Steve, not Steve, what's his name? The one that on this list that I watched the video of, Mike Cernovich.
Yeah.
Cernovich, is that how you say his name?
Yeah,
okay.
Mike Cernovich.
When you look at this guy, I mean, you look at what he's talking about and you sit there and go, I'm on vacation with my wife and my kid. Why am I doing this? Why do I have to now fear for my life from these idiots?
Well, and I think so much of it is just raising funds. let's face it, the ADL can't make much money off fighting the real threats to Jews from Muslims because there are.
Well, you know how much they made last year?
How much?
They made in 2015. They made $36 million, $14 million from fundraising events. Federated campaigns, $200,000.
That's not that much for federated campaigns, all things considered.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I could have been outraged because I could have gone to real Jewish charities.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, when you look at Wounded Warrior, who pulled in $300 or $400 million.
Yes, but that's a real.
You're
charity.
looking at it's a real charity, but they also have 4-star rating, and they also, there's a lot of controversy about that too. But most charities, there is going to be controversy. It tells you everything you need to know in here: administrative expenses, fundraising expenses. I understand that. Everything is program expenses, $44 million.
Yep.
Did it cost a lot of money to make that list?
And they have fancy digs in New York City. I've been in there during my past life during a reporting job. Actually interviewed Abe Foxman, and he was making over $500,000 a year to be head of this organization, of this charity organization. Amazing. And I just don't know what to say.
Well, I know. But this is why their rating is so poor. This is just why. I mean, if you ever want to find out about how a charity is actually doing and what their star ratings are, because you need a place to go to be able to determine. A lot of people want to know, hey, your guide to intelligent giving. Hey, how do I know which charity is going to do the most for me, who takes care of their people? Charity Navigator will do it. I would definitely look at that.
For sure. Well, Jodie,
they have a lot of information.
I think we've given the ADL enough publicity here. We only have about 5
Yes,
minutes
we have.
left. What should we do
What?
for 5 more minutes? Yeah, I'm serious.